First up, a man, a mountain, and a miracle. "53-year-old Mark Chase has always been an avid mountain climber.
I really like to hike, and I find that there's a real thrill in it, just being out in the quietness.
And so, in July of 2000, Mark set out to conquer Torrey's Peak in central Colorado.
Great day to go hiking. This climb was going to be the most aggressive climb I'd done all year, and I was really looking forward to it.
But Mark's wife, Kathleen, did not share his enthusiasm.
I just didn't feel right about it because Mark was going by himself, and that was not Mark's norm. And he assured me that there would be 100 people on the trail, but I just didn't feel good about it.
As Mark geared up for the 14,000-foot climb, he threw his cell phone into his pack, something he'd never done before.
It's just dead weight because they don't work in the backcountry. I thought, well, I don't want somebody to steal it or for it to disappear.
After registering the time, date, and planned route, Mark set off for the summit.
And I started out over the main trail, and as soon as I got to the top, the huge mountains of grays and Torreys came into view with little sprinkles of snow on them still. It was just awesome. My heart just raced. I'm going, oh man, this is such a beautiful day to be here. Could not be better.
But as Mark headed up the trail, he suddenly decided to take a different route.
And I saw in the middle of the mountain a steep band of snow. That's a little bit more aggressive, but I think I can make that. And I carefully examined my maps one more time, took a deep breath and went, well, big boy, that's the route you're going to take. And put my backpack on and headed out. The thought never crossed my mind that no one knows where you're at.
Mark's decision to change trails was about to put him in a very dangerous situation.
At about 13,800 feet, I ran into an obstruction in my route. I had to make a choice. I had to either down climb and go around it, or move out into the snow over to my left. I chose to move out onto the snow, which is steep snow, meaning it's probably 50 degrees at least in pitch, and to kick in snow steps with my boots.
Using his walking stick as an anchor, Mark carefully picked his way across the icy face of the mountain.
And I told myself, don't mess up, it's a long way to fall. And the last thing I remember is that sound that metal makes sliding against ice. And I began to fall down the mountain. And I started slamming into rocks, knocking the wind out of me so fast that I didn't have time to react or even think about it.
The fall of nearly 300 feet had left Mark badly injured.
I knew that I'd probably broken my arm, but I didn't know how hurt I was. But every time I tried to move, my right side was just really in pain. It's the most pain I've ever experienced in my life. And that's when I found that my right leg was missing. It was behind me. I just couldn't get my leg to come around to the front. I didn't know what to do.
Desperate for help, Mark reached for his safety whistle.
I was badly hurt. The emergency whistle I was blowing wasn't doing any good. I knew that if I moved the slightest, I would go on another ride, and this time I knew that if I fell again, that the possibility of me stopping was almost nil. I was scared because now the reality was setting in that no one knew where I was at. I truly was all alone. There are times in people's lives when you really need a miracle. This is one of those times when I really needed a miracle.
Luckily, Mark had put his cell phone in his backpack that day, and he reached for it now, praying that it would work. Clear Creek County 911 dispatcher Marty Ryder picked up Mark's call.
Sheriff's office.
Hi. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. My name is Mark Chase. I'm on Torrey's Peak. I've taken a fall. I think I broke my elbow and my arm.
How far did you fall?
Probably 200 feet.
I got very concerned when I found out how far he fell.
Consciousness or anything?
I didn't know if he was bleeding anywhere, internal bleeding. None of that was real clear. Is this life-threatening? Is he going to die before we get help to him?
Okay, you're on Torrey's Trail.
Yeah, and then actually on Torrey's Peak. That's where I'm at. I have a signal yellow backpack. I got it facing the trail so that people could see me. I've got a whistle and I've got a red helmet on.
Torrey's Peak is a very large mountain. Pinpointing him was like a needle in a haystack. I knew it was important to get a helicopter up there to do some flybys to figure out where exactly he was before we could hike people to him.
Until then, Marty would stay on the line, but their connection was about to prove very fragile.
A couple miles.
And as quick as he said, "Hey Marty, it's Mark," I lost him that fast. It's a very scary feeling to be in the middle of a phone call and then it's gone. And you're like, okay, did he just fall further? Everything's just so open in your mind that you're like, okay, this is not good.
Hi, Mark.
I'm okay.
I lost you a little bit there, Mark.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm here.
You don't know how lucky you are to be talking to me right now on a cell phone.
Yeah.
You just landed in the exact right spot, believe me.
I didn't want to waste his cell phone battery. So I told him that it'd be best if he called me back about every 15 to 20 minutes.
After we both hung up, my first thought was, will it work again? Was this just chance? Boy, I hope this thing works again.
Alpine 601.
With little time to lose, Marty immediately contacted St. Anthony's Flight for Life helicopter and Alpine rescue volunteer Mike Everest.
We were paged out in the early afternoon. The information that we had to begin with was that we had a fallen climber near the summit of Torrey's Peak. Our assignment was to access the subject, radio back to mission base, what our plan was, and the best route for team members to follow that were coming up behind us.
Back on the mountain, Mark Chase was counting the minutes.
Hi, Mark.
Hi.
How you feeling?
And I'm feeling okay, but I don't think this is real stable where I'm at.
I think your leg's broke.
I don't know, and I'm afraid to move. If I just move in the least bit, I start to go downhill.
Call me like at 10 after 1 and don't move, all right?
Okay.
Okay, Mark. Hang in there.
All right, thanks.
All right.
There were those times between each call that was just terrible. And I was just praying, that they would get there quickly.
Hi, Mark. What's going on?
Oh, hey, Marty, we got problems.
Okay.
I'm going into shock, man.
Okay.
I know it. I can feel it.
Okay. You gotta hang in there for me, all right?
I'm hanging.
They're getting up there as quick as we can, okay? Well,
All right.
My worry was if he was going into shock, that if he did pass out, I can't talk to him to find out where's the helicopter at.
Mark had already been stranded for more than 2 hours by the time Mike Everest and the rescue team spotted him.
We took a look at the summit with the helicopter pilot, but once we got up there, we found some turbulence and winds were gusty, and I remember the pilot saying that this is no good.
Mark watched anxiously as the helicopter flew by and landed below his position.
I thought, just from what I could figure out, that what they've got to do is speed climb up to me. And boy, that was going to take at least 2 hours for them to do that as fast as they could climb.
All Mark could do was hang on and wait.
Sheriff's office.
Marty.
Mark, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, man. Oh, man, I can't feel my right leg anymore.
You gotta think clear for me, all right? Got a whole bunch of people coming up.
Oh, man.
Get out of there as quick as they can.
The weather was turning worse. The sun was going down. Once the sun drops behind these mountains at 14,000 feet, it gets very cold very quick.
Oh, God.
What's going on, Mark?
I'm just sitting still.
He had told me that he wasn't going to make it, and that's the first time that I thought, well, maybe he's not. And that wasn't an option for me. I wasn't going to accept him dying up there.
How old are you, Mark?
52.
52?
Yeah.
You got kids?
Yeah.
Wife?
Yeah.
My objective was to get his mind off of the accident and where he was at. And then towards the end, he had said, you know, call my wife.
There are times in your life when you're alone, and then there's times when you're really alone, and this is one of those times. And it's a time when I prayed. I really in my heart wanted one more time just to tell my wife I love her. And in a very quiet time, the same thing with each one of my kids and each one of my grandkids.
After 4.5 hours clinging to the side of the mountain, Mark and Marty's prayers were finally answered.
Well, you're doing an awesome job. You're doing an incredible job.
Okay.
Hanging in there.
I'm hanging.
All right? Just don't lose it now.
I'm not.
We've come too far to lose it at this point.
I'm doing fine.
All righty, pal.
Okay.
I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
My job didn't end until the rescuers got to him.
Mark, how you doing?
I was very relieved that now I know he's going to be okay.
But even though Mark was now in the hands of experts, his problems were far from over.
How you doing, Mark?
Not too good, man.
What's hard, bud?
When we first reached Mark, one of the first things that we did was anchor him off.
I can't feel my right leg.
Put a sling around Mark himself, and we plunged an ice axe down into the snow to keep him where he was.
Get him in. Don't pull too tight. Hang with us, Mark.
Our concern medically was that we didn't do any further damage to Mark.
Okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hold up.
I was in a position on that mountain that was high enough that the EMTs couldn't get to me. Only the Alpine rescue team could get up there. They couldn't give me anything for the pain, so I tried my best to hold myself together and not pass out.
Getting steeper. Slow her down, slow her down.
Every time I just moved the slightest bit, I just saw big black spots in front of my eyes.
Go inside now.
After nearly 5 hours on the mountain, Mark was finally on his way to the hospital.
Good luck. Okay, good job, good job.
I had a broken right arm, deep tissue damage to my whole right side, and my back was broken in 4 places.
You're gonna be okay.
I think I survived all of this so that I could be in a position to tell other people that God is still in the miracle business.
I think it was definitely a miracle that he survived, that he did not fall the 3,000 feet down the mountain, that he only went 300 feet of it. I think that it's definitely a miracle that he could get through to me on his cell phone. I think that angels were definitely watching out for him and looking over him that day.
And Mark Chase believes that one of those angels was the man on the other end of the line.
So, watching out for you.
Marty Ryder and the 911 dispatchers that are like him across our country are very special people.
Well, you're doing an awesome job. You're doing an incredible job.
If there's angels on earth that you can see and hear and touch and talk to, one of them is Marty Ryder. And Marty's very special to me.
How you doing?
Hey, Marty.
Nice
How
to see
you
you
doing,
again.
buddy?
How are you?
Yeah. Good to see you.
How are you?
Just fine. How
you?
Good, good.
Man, it's good to see you.
I've never formed a bond with a collar before.
No more people falling off mountains?
Nobody fallen off mountains since you.
Great.
This is definitely a special call. You coming up hiking again? Take Kathleen with you.
Yep,
Yes.
she's going.
To see Marty today, it was very heart-wrenching because there's the man that gave me my husband back.
Really good shape.
I really say thanks from the bottom of my heart.
And I'll forever be thankful to Marty for that.
Today, Mark is fully recovered and once again climbing mountains with a renewed appreciation of life.
This is why I hike right here. Isn't this awesome?
It's beautiful.
Human beings are very fragile creations, and at any moment we could just be snuffed out. Life is precious, and we should enjoy every moment, because every moment is a gift. Man, it's beautiful.
Sometimes it takes a near-death experience like Mark's to fully appreciate that every moment in life is a gift. On the other hand, just watching his story can be a lesson in itself. We wanted to follow up with Mark, and so he and his wife, Kathleen, join us now from their home in Edmond, Oklahoma. Hello there.
Hi, Richard.
How are you doing?
We're doing pretty good.
Well, that's great. Now, Mark, I understand you've gone back to climbing, and in fact, I hear that you plan to tackle Torrey's Peak again.
Oh, yeah. After that kind of a fall, I've come to the conclusion that that mountain owes me the summit. I'm going to go up the main trail this time, the way I'm supposed to. And this summer, I'll claim the summit on Torrey's Peak.
Okay, Kathleen, how do you feel about this?
He can go back hiking anytime he wants, but I'm going with him.
So you're not letting him out of your sight again, huh?
No.
I don't blame her.
I'm going to be right there by him.
Good. So, besides climbing with a partner, do you have any other safety tips that you'd like to pass on to our viewers?
Well, I'm an amateur hiker, and even for an amateur or professional, you should stay on the trail that you registered to stay on and don't change your mind. Study up on the area so you'll know where you're at in case something does happen. And don't go over your head and tackle something that is beyond your capability.
Well, that sounds like excellent advice, and I want to thank you for taking the time to share it with us. And good luck on your future climbs.
Thanks,
Thanks, Richard. We really appreciate you telling our story.
You're very welcome.